Hello and welcome to another editing toolbox video. I'm Craig Turner Bullock from Unleashed Education, and in these videos we share with you a quick tip, trick or technique to make your pet photography editing life a little bit easier. Today we're going to be looking at these two images and working on auto aligning them. So what auto align is going to do is make it very easy to remove unwanted objects. So in this case, the handler of the dog and this little bit of leash here in the image. It's also a really good way, as in this case, of extending the canvas a little bit more. So if you have an image like this one where his paws are very close to the edge of the frame and you have another shot that you can pull some more foreground from, then you can also extend the background using this technique too. It does require a little bit of pre-planning, so you do need to think about this when you're out shooting. And if you have a situation like this where this was an adoption shoot, so absolutely definitely not off leash at all, and the dog handler is standing right next to the dog as well, so I knew that I'm going to have to remove this from the shot later on. Therefore, I got the shot of the dog that I wanted, got them all to move back and behind me so they're not in my way, and then I shot the blank frame that I knew I would use to remove them later on. So that's your pre-planning for this kind of work. Let's get straight into it. We're going to do this in Photoshop, so I'm going to grab both of these images, I'll right click on them, and I'm going to edit in and open as layers in Photoshop. Okay, so now I have these two layers in Photoshop with both of the images. The next step is quite an important one. You want to make sure that you do this every single time. Currently, Photoshop has placed the dog as the top layer. Now, when we auto align, when Photoshop is calculating everything and working out where everything should be, it will distort the top layer to fit onto the bottom layer. So in this case, with the dog on the top, it's going to distort the dog and make that a little bit crazy. And I've seen some that have gone way wrong. So just make sure that you are moving the dog to the bottom layer. So we just shift it down. So you can't see the dog now, but that's okay. We're going to just grab a shift and select both of these layers. And then we're going to go up to the top to edit. And it's here, auto align layers, nice and easy. Now I almost always leave this on auto and let Photoshop do its thing. If it doesn't do a very good job and you want to try other ways, then I find perspective, cylindrical and occasionally spherical quite helpful. But usually auto is absolutely fine. So then we just press OK. And you see now it has distorted this frame to fit the frame behind. And then it's really entirely up to you how you do this. You can either put a layer mask on the top layer and reveal the dog behind, or you can grab the dog layer again and bring it back to the top and then mask away the unwanted things. It really doesn't matter which way around you do it. It's interchangeable for me when I'm doing this, depending on what is the easiest. Probably in this case, it's not too much of a challenge either way. So we'll just work from here. Now we want to make sure that we have black and white brushes set as the defaults here. If you haven't got black and white in here, then your default to reset that on the keyboard shortcuts is just by pressing D. And then X will toggle between black and white as the foreground color. Now we're on a white mask here, so we do want a black brush. So then I'm pressing X and I'll just increase the size. So I want to make sure that all of these hard edges are gone all the way around. I think I probably chopped those paws off in this shot, but I don't think it matters too much because they could just as easily be hidden by all this fallen leaves. Then I'll just brush away the handler and the leash. And then the final step really is just making sure through the image that where you've masked, you haven't got anywhere that's kind of repeating patterns of bokeh, or you've got any repeating patterns of the branches or anything like that. Then I can make a wee crop. I'll just keep this at the same 2:3 ratio that I shot it in. And you'll notice if we look at this corner that we've got some empty pixels there. So I'm going to just flatten the layer at this point with Command and E and just fill this in with the patch tool. And that's it, a really quick way to remove unwanted objects from your images using Auto Align in Photoshop. I hope you've enjoyed this editing toolbox video, and I'll see you again really soon for the next one.